Shut up and sit down.
Hi, welcome to another edition of Split Decision Boxing. I've left it quite a while since my last one because I wanted to wait until the Usyk Anthony Joshua fight was done and dusted, and it is now. I didn't actually do a video prior to that. I didn't give my prediction, although I wish I had, because I spoke to everybody around me, and I said to everyone around me, if he doesn't beat, if Joshua doesn't beat Usyk in 4, if he doesn't stop him by round 4 or 5, he's going to lose. And that's pretty much how it played out. And that's the purpose of this video. So I want to just talk about Anthony Joshua. You know, I don't want to knock him. I'm not a boxer. I don't, I don't profess to be an expert in ring craft. And he would smash me all over the place if I ever got in the ring with him. I absolutely understand that. However, I do like to think I know a little bit about boxing. I'm a lover of the sport, and I study boxing and boxers because it's, probably the best combat sport out there. Anyway, I'm a bit concerned about Anthony Joshua, because the more he's had success, the more his career has gone on, and the more money he seems to have got in the bank, although I don't think that's probably relative, but he's become more and more robotic, statuesque, and upright, almost to the point where put a different head on Anthony Joshua on Saturday night and he could have been Frank Bruno fighting. Their styles, their stance, their body is almost identical, and to me, they almost have an identical chin, because once AJ gets tagged on that chin, he's all over the place, and there's the danger. And what I've noticed so he's had 2 defeats. He lost to Ruiz, as we know, and he regained that title back. His belts back in very convincing fashion. So we know he's resilient. We know he can come back, and we know he can. He has got the capability to win those belts back. He's certainly got the firepower and the weight and the artillery. That's not in question. It's what's up here. And he talks a good game, He comes across as this nice guy, and I'm not saying he's not a nice guy. He probably is. I've never met the fella. But he comes across as very knowledgeable about the game and blah, blah. But I don't think he's as bright as he likes to think he is, and he likes to make out. And that causes him issues. Because even the most unseasoned boxing follower who knew a little bit about Alexander Usyk and about Anthony Joshua would know that if you're going to get in a ring with Alexander Usyk and try and outbox him, you're in a world of trouble. Possibly the pound for pound best boxer in the world today. I'm not saying he's the best fighter, but the best boxer. And AJ, to me, can't handle boxers. He can't handle angles. He presents himself as a huge target with his very upright stance, pinging out the jab, but with no real finesse or power in it at all, certainly Saturday night. And you've got a guy in front of him, smaller than him, weaving, moving his head, not particularly moving his feet very much, to be fair, but he was moving around in half circles and quarter circles around AJ. and picking off his shots. He was coming in with hooks and crosses and over the top of a man who's 4 or 5 inches taller than him. You know, it he made himself a very easy target. Number one, when you make yourself a target to a professional fighter, you're going to get hit. That's end of story. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two, he failed to grab the fight by the throat in the first 2 or 3 rounds and use his size, strength, muscle power to derail, to blast Usyk and knock any heart out of him. You know, I'm sure we know AJ's got the capability and he's got the class and he's got the ability to blast any other fighter in the world out if he puts his mind to it. So why didn't he use that? The 3 advantages he had: a height, weight, reach. So why didn't he use them? Why didn't he use the weight in particular to get behind those punches and land some big guns? You know, when he did land them in the middle rounds, they had an effect. You saw that Usyk was backed up. He started getting marked in the face, and his eyebrow was cut, and his under both eyes were marked. But then he stopped. I don't know what was going through his mind. What was in his head? Now I'm going to take you back to when he fought Ruiz. When he fought Ruiz, there was a point, if you remember, when he went back to the corner at the end of a round after he was being, obviously similar story to this one, he was being outboxed, outpunched, and he was very confused. And he came back and he said to his trainer, "Why am I feeling like this? Why do I feel like this?" I think there's something not right with AJ. If I'm honest, I said it then, I'll say it now. There's something not right with AJ. Um, I don't think he has the mental strength that he believes he has to see him through the tough times in a fight. Because whenever the tough times get tough, he tends to crumble. All right, he didn't against Klitschko. He got up and stopped him. But he was a different fighter then. So the AJ back in the days, the AJ that won that got him recognition, the AJ that won him the title, the AJ that won the fights against the likes of Dillian White and people like that, was the guy that imposed himself physically and was freer with his punches and he let leather go, you know? Not this guy that I saw Saturday night who stands there like, you know, like that, pouring away. Particularly against, you know, and he couldn't deal with the southpaw either. I mean, that was the other thing that was quite obvious. So I'm really concerned. I know he says he's going to come back. He wants to come back, and he's going to have he's got a rematch clause in for a rematch with Usyk. And of course, we know where that's going to end up, don't we? Ruiz unfortunately didn't get the chance, but I know we know where that's going to end up. He probably will beat Usyk in a rematch. And then Usyk there'll probably be some kind of clause that they have a third fight, just like Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. So we'll see where that goes. However, having said that, I'm not 100% convinced that AJ would win the rematch unless he makes huge changes in his style, in his approach. It's all right, Sam. I'm going back to the gym. I'm going back to the gym. Going back to the gym to do what, AJ? To do what? To keep doing what you was doing in the gym, which when you brought it to the ring, didn't work. So either your training was wrong, or the advice from your coaches and trainers, McCracken, was wrong, or you failed to listen to their advice, in which case you were wrong. One of those three is the reason you lost on Saturday night. So you have to address that. You have to go back to the drawing board. Forget the gym for a second. We know you're a fit guy. We know you're a strong guy. We know you're, you spend hours and hours and hours training and building up your body and ducking and weaving and bobbing and sparring and everything else. But if everything you learn in the gym you brought to the ring on Saturday night, then something is wrong with what they're teaching you in the gym or what you're doing in the gym. So before you say, I want to go back to the gym tomorrow, no, go back to the drawing board tomorrow. Go back to the drawing board, have a look at the fight again and again and again, and say, where did I go wrong? Why did I fight this way? Was I ignoring rules? Was I told to fight this way and it was the wrong decision? Why am I fighting so upright and British stance like? And it is a British stance. Henry Cooper had it. Frank Bruno had it. This very British upright and jab out the jab. You look at a lot of successful. Look at people like Mike Tyson. Came in underneath. There was none of this. He came in underneath, bobbing and weaving and making himself hard to hit. The same as Ruiz did against AJ. The same as on Saturday night, Usyk was moving around and bobbing and weaving. He wasn't standing there like that, like a robot. I can see that. If I can see that, surely, AJ, when you look at the video, you can see that. I know you said at your press conference, it feels very different when you're in there to when you see it. So be an adult, be mature about this and take a look at it and see your flaws and recognize your flaws. Because I don't buy into this camp as well. You either got to be an AJ fan or a Tyson Fury fan. I don't buy into that. I'm a boxing fan, and I want British boxers to do well. I want British boxing to rule the world, which it has done recently in the heavyweight division. Certainly, we've got 2 world champions. We hold all the belts. It's fantastic. Not anymore. We've got 1 world champion who holds 1 belt, which is under extreme scrutiny in a couple of weeks' time. And I'm going to come to that in a second. So I think we can learn a lot still from foreign grounds and their style of fighting. You know, the Queensberry rules are in place wherever you go, but I hate seeing this upright stance. Who tells them to fight like that? It's so predictable. It's so easy to fight against. You know, at the end of the day, when you're fighting like that, you're relying on your power more than anything else. And the one thing that was totally missing Saturday night for AJ was the power punching. It just wasn't there. So he needs to get on. He needs to get back to the drawing board. Maybe take a close look at his team. The other thing that struck me as well in the ring, in the corners, everyone was shouting at him. They were coming at him from ear, left ear, right ear, someone in front of him. Bad management, bad coaching. The head coach, McCracken, should have been saying to his corner before the fight, and I know it gets emotional, but before the fight, he should have been saying to his corner men, I'm the only one that's going to speak to AJ about fight tactics. Once this fight starts, at the end of each round, I'm the only one. I don't want to hear your voices. The only voice I maybe want to hear is the medical cuts man, just making sure he needs to know what he needs to know. But anybody else, anything to do with the fight and the tactics, come through me. Because at the end of the day, AJ's sitting there, and this goes down to what I said, perhaps he's not the brightest in the world as he thinks he is. He's hearing 4 different voices shouting at him, and he can pick and choose which one he wants to listen to. They're all given different instructions, so he gets a little bit confused and thinks, I don't know, I don't really know what I'm doing. And he goes out there, and before you know, ding ding, round's gone. You're back in your corner. You've just lost another round. So AJ, I know you won't be seeing this. I know you won't be listening to this, and I know you won't be watching this. It's a real shame. I wish you was, because I feel that I've given you some top advice there. So if you guys think I've given top advice, do me a favor, like this video, give it the thumbs up, share it, subscribe to it, copy the link, Put it on your Twitter feeds, your social media, your Instagram, or whatever, because I'd like to get this out there. Now I'm going to move on. I'm going to talk now. So in less than 2 weeks' time, as this video is made, which is the 27th of September 2021. So in less than 2 weeks' time, we've got the Fury Wilder trilogy fight. There wasn't a lot of interest in this to start with, but all of a sudden it's become probably the biggest fight on the planet because he's now our only heavyweight champion, is Tyson Fury. So I'm gonna keep this fairly short, probably 5 minutes, no more. I think Tyson Fury needs to be very careful. I don't think he needs. I think he needs to be very wary of underestimating Deontay Wilder on the 9th of October. There's a saying in the world that there's nothing more dangerous than a wounded animal, and Deontay Wilder is a wounded animal. Make absolutely no doubt about that. He is a wounded animal with a point to prove. 1 minute you're sitting top of the tree, you're considered the hardest hitting boxer in the world who can knock anybody out on their day. The next, you've lost everything. You've lost your titles, you've lost your belts, you've lost your dignity, you've been exposed. That's going to hurt. And a hurt fighter who's had time to reflect and time to let that cancer eat him up, it's going to be a completely different dog when he comes out on October the 9th. I'm a little bit concerned for Tyson Fury. I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't really seen a lot yet. I'm sure over the next couple of weeks we're going to see a lot more build-up. But I haven't seen a lot about Tyson Fury. Don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic fighter. I think he would. I think he could beat AJ all day long because he not only is he big and strong, he can move. He does the head movement, the jerks. He can box. Something AJ can't, unfortunately. Is it going to be enough against Wilder on this third fight? Something in me, and I don't know why, but something in me is telling me that unless Tyson Fury brings his absolute A game and is in absolute top condition and takes this fight extremely seriously, I think he could be in trouble. I think he could be stopped quite early on, actually. And I don't want to see that. I want to see our British heavyweight champion dominate the division and maybe get a fight with Usyk and unify the belts. He's capable of doing it, but he mustn't underestimate Deontay Wilder. I think he underestimated. Don't get me wrong. In the first fight, I don't think Fury lost. I don't think it was a draw. I think Fury won. But I think he underestimated him. To get caught the way he got caught and to put flat on his back the way he was put flat on his back shows he underestimated him. That's the danger you've got with Deontay Wilder. In his hands and his arms and his shoulders, he carries immense power to knock any man on the planet out. If he gets the timing right, if he gets the opportunity, if he gets that opening, he might be 10 rounds behind. That's the problem. He could be 10 rounds behind, defensive fighting, and then suddenly, for whatever reason, Fury drops his guard or just leaves a little opening, and it could be good night nurse. It could be game over. Because I'm certain, the one thing I am certain of, if the similar situation happens in this fight that happens in happened in the first fight, where Wilder thought he was all done and dusted, he walked away, he gave it a shuffle, didn't he, thinking, oh yeah, I've knocked this bum out. And then the bum got back up. Yeah. And Deontay Wilder didn't really know what to do at that point. I'm certain he would have done his homework, and he will be saying, if that situation happens again, if he does if he is lucky enough to get up from that punch and a punch like that, I'm going to be all over him like a Rottweiler, and he's going to get more of those punches. So that I don't think Fury will get a second chance to recover from a knockdown like that if it happens again. That's all I'm saying. I'm concerned, but I'd like to take this opportunity right now to wish Tyson Fury the absolute best and success on October the 9th. We're all gunning for you, mate. You're our last British hope in the heavyweight division right now. I know we've got fighters coming through. We've got people like Dubois and Joe Joyce and people like that, but at the moment they're not knocking on the door. So, you're at the door. You're the key holder. So let's see you slam the door shut in Wilder's face once and for all. We'll get him out of there. He's not a boxer either. Another one that's not a boxer. He's a hitter. Interestingly, how would Wilder have got on against Usyk? If Wilder had still been champion and he had got Usyk as a fighter, what would have happened there? Would Usyk have beaten Wilder? I think so. I think he probably would have done. But having said that, the same applies. If Wilder had hit him, if Wilder unleashed the big right hand, game over for Usyk and anyone who's at the end of it. That's it, folks. Listen, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know I don't do as many as I should. I do intend to do more, to be honest, because I absolutely love the sport of boxing. It's my favourite sport. I'm passionate about it. So do me a favour, guys. Please subscribe. Please give it the thumbs up. Please copy the link. Put it all on your social medias. Comment as well for me, guys. I want to know what your thoughts are. Here it is. You've heard it here first. On October the 9th, Deontay Wilder will stop Anthony Fury within 4 rounds. I hope I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. Take care, folks.
Shut up and sit down.